While viewers have seen Bear Grylls during his most vulnerable moments while trekking it on television, there are still quite a few facts that fans would be fascinated to know about this celebrity survivalist. Here are a few surprising things you never knew about Bear Grylls. We all know how Bear Grylls finds himself in many extreme circumstances while on television. Not surprisingly, his big break onto our TV screens put him in the middle of another pretty sweaty situation. It was a starring role in a deodorant commercial. In 2003, Grylls was approached to appear in the advertisement 5 years after his monumental trek up Mount Everest. According to BearGrylls.com, he was only 23 years old when he became the youngest person ever to reach the top of the mountain. Like his successful climb up the summit, the commercial catapulted his media career. It immediately became Campaign of the Week and brought attention to the young adventurer. Documentaries were developed about his outdoor encounters, and eventually, Discovery Channel approached him to star in the series called Man vs. Wild. Grylls explained to Newsday, "I always knew what I loved. It was always about being outside with my dad, climbing or making stuff, and getting in and out of scrapes. That was how it all started." For a man who enjoys spending time out in the wilderness so much, the Man vs. Wild celeb couldn't have been given a more fitting name than Bear. However, it's not his real name. Born as an Edward, the name was way too fancy for someone who always enjoyed getting their feet dirty, or so his older sister said. Friends and family began shortening his name to Ted, and then to the even friendlier nickname Teddy Bear, and finally shortened it to, well, you get the idea. He's been called Bear for quite some time. Grylls laughed as he told ABC News, "Everyone always asks, did you wrestle a bear when you were young? We've got to admit that would have been an even more amazing story. Luckily, long before television came calling, he already had this successful stage name." He added, "It's actually more that I had an older, bossy sister who said, 'Edward's such a boring name.'" Bear Grylls spends a lot of time on deserted islands, so much so that he actually decided to live on one. Radio Times reported that in 2001, Grylls and his family of 5 purchased a 20-acre island off the coast of Wales to build their remote home on. While it may seem like the perfect place to escape the paparazzi and relax after running around in the wild, it's not exactly the oasis most of us would expect. There's no running water, and unfortunately, Grylls can't watch himself on TV because there's no electricity either. At least it's precisely what he's used to when he's out adventuring, right? To keep their house at a habitable temperature, the Grylls family built it up with limestone walls that are 2 feet thick. He told Vanity Fair, "But when those gales come in, you can still feel it almost shake." Setting world records out in the wilderness seems to be Bear Grylls' thing. The sky truly is the limit for what this man can do, except in 2005 when he decided to attempt a new record up in the atmosphere. Grylls put on a tuxedo, hopped in a hot air balloon, and hosted the world's highest formal dinner party. Along with 2 other guests, he enjoyed a 3-course meal almost 5 miles above the earth. The menu consisted of asparagus tips, duck l'orange, and fruit terrine. The Guardian reported that when they were done dining, they skydived back down to the ground. At least they were able to enjoy some beautiful weather up there. It was minus 58 degrees Fahrenheit. When Bear Grylls met the love of his life, he was doing the last thing any of us want to be during a moment as magical as that. He was skinny dipping. However, maybe it's not that big of a shocker if you're a devoted fan of his shows on the Discovery Channel. He's in the buff quite often. It was a few months before heading to Mount Everest when it happened. Grylls was getting in the water for his regular New Year's tradition when he spotted a woman walking by on the shore. At that point, a wave took his clothes away that were sitting on the sand, and he was scrambling to pick them up when Shara stopped to help him. He admitted on Piers Morgan's Life Stories, "It was the worst time in the world to fall in love. She probably felt sorry for me, this weird man running around." When Grylls arrived back from Mount Everest, he knew he had to marry her. To make the moment super special, he decided to propose in the same way he met her, so they went skinny dipping. It's kind of like their own rendition of dating naked, huh? It shouldn't come as a shock that Bear Grylls has sustained too many injuries to count while surviving in the craziest places. However, there was one injury that almost ended it all. Before Grylls broke the world record for the youngest man to climb Mount Everest, he broke his back. He told The Telegraph, "I left that hospital with a fire inside to live life boldly and with gratitude. I had been given a second chance, and that doesn't always happen." He headed out again into the world and has since broken a lot more bones and been bitten by an assortment of animals. The Daily Star reported that in 2019, Grylls knocked on death's door a second time when he was stung by a bee that put him into shock while shooting one of his shows. Not too surprisingly, Grylls is also covered in scars. It's unfortunately just part of putting on a show as a survivalist. The one he gets asked about often is on his chest. His wife, Shara, explained on Piers Morgan's Life Stories that he earned it in quite an unexpected way.
It was him taking the pizza out of the oven naked, naturally, and burning himself on the tray.
After conquering Mount Everest, Bear Grylls wasn't searching for money, only for more mountains to climb. He told ABC News, "I might never make any money, but it's going to be an adventure." For someone known for surviving with very little, Grylls actually has a lot. According to Celebrity Net Worth, he is worth $25 million. Between the books he's written, television shows he stars in, and merchandise he sells, Grylls has quickly become a millionaire. He said on Piers Morgan's Life Stories, "It's great not having to worry about paying the bills." That being said, there's really no reason he should be spending so much time sleeping outside. This is exactly what got him in trouble in 2007. He made headlines for staying in a hotel one night while shooting his show. As Grylls explained, his son had just been born and he was eager to see his family. He booked them all a room and headed back to set as soon as the sun came up. According to Reuters, he explained such scenarios further during a press tour. Often at nighttime, the crew will get helicoptered out, and they might have to recharge camera batteries and hand in footage, and then they leave me a little mini camera for the night stuff, and they come and rejoin me in the morning. Grylls' roughing it is very real. He just makes sure to fit in time with family on occasion. With all of the terrifying encounters Bear Grylls has experienced out in the wild, it wouldn't seem like he's scared of anything at all. However, every human has their fair share of fears, and Grylls may just surprise you. He admitted on an episode of Running Wild with Bear Grylls, "Cocktail parties. I'm not joking. I get like the fear of God." For being both a celebrity and a public speaker, Grylls is still pretty shy. Surprisingly, on his newest television series, he's forced to socialize with other stars, as he shares survival tips with them while out in the wilderness. BBC reported the thoughts he shared during a conference in Dubai. "I've learned that the best way over our fears is right bang through the middle. It really is. The only way you don't see the fear is when you're right on it." Running Wild with Bear Grylls has featured big names like Channing Tatum and Brie Larson. Obviously, Grylls doesn't easily get starstruck. There's no denying that Bear Grylls is seriously the ultimate Boy Scout. Aside from teaching the world how to survive the wilderness on television, it only makes sense that he mentors young men as a scout leader. In 2009, Grylls broke yet another world record when he was named the youngest chief scout at 34 years old.
Just never give up.
Thank you.
Never give up.
While his world records are astounding, the ultimate honor was appointed to him by the Queen of England. The Telegraph reported that Grylls was officially named an OBE, or Officer of the Order of the British Empire, for his work with young people. The title is so important to this outdoor enthusiast that he even has it listed on his Instagram profile. There's a real reason why he volunteers with adolescent expeditionists. Even as Grylls goes all over the world sharing his survival tips, there's a simple something he wants to hit home with them. He explained to LAist, "Get out there and live life a bit, and live it boldly. Don't be scared to take some risks and push the boundaries a bit. This is a message I'm trying to get to the scouts." Bear once revealed, "So many people have asked me over the years where they can learn extreme, practical survival." In response, he created the Bear Grylls Survival Academy in 2012. Though none of the classes are taught specifically by Grylls himself, after all, he has a pretty strenuous schedule between shooting his show and, surviving in the middle of nowhere, all of the lessons were laid out by Grylls himself. His experience as a part of the British Special Forces influenced much of the content. Anybody from the experienced outdoor enthusiast to your everyday air conditioning loving person is able to master what it takes to make it in the wild. The program is now available in the United Kingdom, the United States, and China. Though Bear Grylls is up for any adventure that's thrown his way, he understands that not everybody else is up for a treacherous task, even those celebrities who volunteer to be on Running Wild with Bear Grylls. In 2015, Barack Obama happened to be the one starring alongside the excursionist. Apparently, he's a big fan of the show and was ready to embark on an adventure. Yet, just behind the scenes, producers were set on getting him to do something pretty unenjoyable. It's something that Grylls has had to do time and time again: drink his own urine. Yikes. Grylls, of course, isn't from the States, but it seems he has the utmost respect for the former president. He admitted to The Sun, "I jumped in and said, guys, we're done. I'm not asking him to do that. We're moving on." In fact, Obama had to have many precautions in place in order to be a part of the production in the first place. According to the Jonathan Ross show, Secret Service had to be present, and a large black crate was even kept nearby for him to crawl into, ready to be airlifted out by helicopter in the event that, quote, everything goes wrong. While they may be out in the wild where dangerous things are likely to happen, these celebrity guests still can't show up to their other expensive projects with broken bones. Grylls said, "My job is always to listen and to look after them on the journey." Bear Grylls has been popping up on our television screens for nearly 2 decades, so it's a bit shocking to hear that he originally wanted no part in being broadcast to the world. He told ABC News, "I never knew anything about TV, and I certainly never wanted to be a TV host. It was after speaking with other nature enthusiasts that he knew he was doing a good deed. Many fans felt inspired and empowered after seeing him survive in the wild. It wasn't just because he taught them how to manage in the middle of nowhere either. In the wild, like in life, Grylls was being tested and always triumphed. Aside from receiving inspiring words from all over the world, Grylls also gets asked some silly questions." He told the New York Times, "People come up to me and go, 'You're the dude who slept in that camel,' or 'You're the dude who drank your own urine.' And I keep thinking, at the end of my life, do I want to be known as the person who slept in a camel and drank my own urine? Maybe there are worse things to be known for." Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Nicki Swift videos about your favorite celebs are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.